When it comes to location and especially positional language, I feel like the biggest confusion for students is a matter of perspective. Put simply, they can't tell the difference between, say, what's left and right on my piece of paper or my overall map or whatever it might be, compared to what's left or right with a character such as my teddy bear here embedded within the map, or in this case, sitting on my piece of paper. And so this task I'm about to show you is great because we do both of those things. So how this works is you're going to give every student a piece of paper and some textures, and they're going to follow along with your instructions as you slowly build out a map. So for example, you might say, again, always focusing on that positional language, can you place a flat rock in the bottom right corner of our map? Then in the middle of the map, can you place a little river? Then in the top middle part, we're going to put a cave, a gloomy, dark, scary cave. Below the cave, we're going to put some long, long grass. Then in the top right-hand corner, we're going to put a nice little beehive filled with delicious honey. And then finally, on the left-hand side, in the middle, across the river, we're going to place a rickety bridge. And then once you've got your map drawn, we're going to introduce our character into the map, which is our teddy bear. And then I would start to tell a story and students have to follow along. So for example, the teddy bear was laying on the sunny rock and then woke up. He decided to take a quarter turn to the right. And then all the students would move their teddies on their map. Then the teddy walked forward all the way to the edge of the map. When he was there, he did a quarter turn to the right. And then up he walked all the way across the bridge. Once he was across the bridge, he got a sniff of the delicious honey just nearby. And so he needed to take a quarter turn to the right. But he knew that inside the dark cave up ahead was a big grumpy bear. So he had to lie down and crawl through the long grass. And so then you might ask your students, all right, what way does our teddy bear need to turn to get to the honey? And hopefully someone says he needs to do a quarter turn to the left. And you'd say, yes, that's perfect. And then you'd say, all right, our teddy's going to sneak up and steal the honey. Now you can make up whatever story you want, but at this point I usually say, as soon as he tasted the sweet honey, he heard a giant growl coming from the cave and needed to escape back to his rock. At that point, it's up to you. You can make him fall into the river, swim, have to climb out, add different things to your map as you go. But you get the idea. The really important thing just to emphasize while you're doing this is the difference between when are we referring to left and right in terms of our own perspective, looking at the piece of paper, in terms of placing our things like our rock here on the right, compared to with a character embedded inside the map, how the left and right then changes depending on the way our character's facing.